In this video, I'm going to show you guys how to use the reflection cube map and the irradiance volume to make this scene look something like this one. I'm not going to be going over the reflection plane on this video, so stay up for the next one in which I'm going to show you how to use the reflection plane and also give you some tips and tricks to optimize the shadow quality and make the shadows look more realistic in Blender. In this video, I'm going to just focus on the cube map and the irradiance volume. So let's get started. So as you can see, we have opened this scene and currently it doesn't look very realistic. Because there's no ambient light going on, there's no proper reflection or refraction either. So to make it more realistic, what I'm going to do is, first thing you need to do is make sure that you're turning on the ambient occlusion. It creates this ambient light, like this bounce lighting kind of thing, and also some ambient shadows also. If I turn it off, you can see those things are gone, but if I turn it on, you can see this ambient lights, and this distance is basically how much blending there will be. If I increase the distance, as you can see, some parts of the image does look good, but you'll have some artifacts if you increase it too much. So I'm going to keep it down to 0.35 or something like that. I think it's totally fine. Now the next thing that I'm going to do is, before that, let me quickly show you guys that the reflection is not properly working. As you can see, you're not having the proper reflections here. These products are reflecting the HDRI, which is outside of this room. So to fix that, we're going to add a reflection probe here. So let me quickly add a reflection cube map, which should be another light probe. And we have a spherical reflection probe. There are mainly two types of reflection probe, the spherical one and the box one. So we should be using the box one, but let me quickly show you guys which kind of glitch we will have if we use a spherical reflection probe. So I'm going to increase the size of this. To bake the cube map, just go into the render tab and click the bake cube map button, and you will have the cube map being baked. Now, as you can see that there's some light glitches happening. Also, the reflection is not properly reflected here. I mean, from a certain distance, maybe it may look okayish, but in this case, it doesn't. So to fix that, what I'm going to do is select the reflection probe, go over to this one, the cube settings, and choose box from the sphere, change it to box, and I'm going to change the, I'm going to scale it down. You can see that there's two boxes. The outer one is the outer bound and the smaller one is the inner bound. So I'm going to decrease the fall off until it becomes a sharp box. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to scale it and make it so that the box is covering the whole building. But what I did here, I scaled up the box to match the size of the room here, and actually you need to make sure that the box is properly matched up with the size of the room. Otherwise, you won't have proper reflection and you might have some glitches. And also what I did was I made sure that the reflection probe is not going outside of the room, and also it's not touching the window panels over here. So now I'm going to give it a quick bake, and now as you can see, some of the reflections are properly working. As you can see over here, these are properly working, but we have some glitches because actually the reflection probe is like a 360, like an HDRI image that is captured from this point, and this object is also included in the reflection probe. That's why we are getting this kind of glitches here. So to remove this glitch, what I'm going to do is move these objects to a separate collection. So to do that, I'm going to just select these objects and I'm going to press M to move it into a new collection. I'm going to give it a name, something like non-static objects, something like that. And then I'm going to move everything to there. And now what I need to do is to tell the reflection probe over here to not capture things which are in the non-static collection. And to do so, I'm going to go over to this probe settings, and here you can see the visibility collection. I'm going to just choose the collection and not the non-static one. Doing so, now if I give it a quick bake, and as you can see that we don't have any glitches. And also you can see that we are having proper reflection on the floor. However, I don't know if you can see that or not, but the reflection of the sofa is also glitchy because this object itself is captured on the reflection probe. That's why we're not having the wall reflecting over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this sofa to the non-static one and bake the cube map again. And as you can see that we are having proper reflection. You can do the same thing for this object over here, because you can see that the wall is not reflecting there. Instead, this wooden crate is like stuck onto the wall in the reflection. So to fix that, I'm going to just move this into the non-static one and bake the cube map again. And as you can see, it's been fixed. To see this properly, I'm going to just make the wooden floor a little bit more reflective. Okay, now as you can see, we got some proper reflections now. See? So we've done that. We're also having some reflection over here, as you can see. It's slightly less noticeable, but still you can see that we're having proper reflections. Now you might remember that I made the reflection probe in such a way that I didn't hit the glass panel over here. And I did that because if I try to scale this thing out, something like this, outside of the window, or maybe on the window, then if I try to bake it again, you will have the reflection on the panel, but you will see some kind of glitches like this. So that's why just make sure that if you have a transparent glass or something like this on your scene, just don't use a reflection probe on that one. So I'm going to scale it down to be about something like this. And I'm going to give it a bake again. Now, so we have proper reflection on this floor. And now, as you can see that this object here is not showing on the reflection, and also this sofa is also not on the reflection, neither this object over here. So to fix this issue, what I'm going to do is over here, you can see the screen space reflection. Just turn this thing on. Voila, you can see we got all the reflections that we needed. However, there's a glitch with screen space reflection. Not glitch, but a limitation that you can't see the faces which is not visible on the camera. That's why in the reflection, as you can see, that the inner part of this sofa is not visible there. To fix that, we can use a reflection plane, which is like this one. But I'm going to show you this on the next tutorial, because in this tutorial I'm going to just stick with this reflection cube map and the Irradiance volume. So yeah, so we have the reflections properly built up. Now I'm going to work on the refraction. As you can see that we can't see through the glass. As you can see that if we go inside there, then we can't see outside, and if we go outside, then we can't see the inside of the room. So to fix that, we need to go into the screen space reflection and then turn on the refraction over here. And also, you need to select the glass object. Actually, I have done this already, that's why I can see through the glass, but you wouldn't be able to see through the class if you don't do this one. You need to select the class object, the class material, then go into the settings and choose the blend mode as alpha blend and enable so backface and screen space reflection. You must do these things, otherwise you can't be able to see through the glass. So yeah. Also, as you can see, we have some glitches going on around these sides, and these things are happening because we have in the screen space reflection settings, we have this edge fading kind of thing turned up. So if we turn it down to 0, we won't have those bugs anymore. So now we have the glass properly working. Now the reflection is done. Now I'm going to fix the ambient lighting. So as you can see that we don't have any ambient light now. We're just like the whole scene is lit up like with some invisible lights or some things like that. But in the cycles, if I go into the cycles, you can see that the light is coming from this side, and then the whole room is kind of dark, and the underlying geometry of the sofa is kind of dark, and you can see that there's ambient lights happening here. But in the Eevee, there's no ambient light. To add ambient light in your scene, we need the Irradiance volume. So how does this work is, let me quickly add it and show you guys. As you can see that there's some small dots here. All of these small dots will act like a light capture thing, okay? And to use this thing, you just need to make sure that none of these dots are clipping through the geometry or outside of the room or things like that. So to do so, I'm going to just quickly move it up, do something like this. Also, you can see that there's two boxes, and one is outer bound and the other one is inner bound. I'm going to just keep it like that. And you need to make sure that you scale it in such a way that the inner bound is going outside the room. So something like this, okay? You don't need to be precise here, but if it was a reflection probe, then you need to be precise. Like you need to make sure that this one is lined up properly. Otherwise, you won't have proper reflection. But this is not a reflection probe. So I'm going to keep it something like this. And you can see that this one is, no, it's not clipping through the floor. So you just need to make sure that it's not clipping. Okay. Now I'm going to scale it on the y-axis to about something like this much. It's fine. And I'm going to scale it towards the x. Move it around the x-axis. So yeah, let's see if any of the dots are going outside or clipping through. Now you might be thinking that, okay, let me show you. If I bake this cube, this irradiance volume, we're gonna have the ambient light. I need to hit the bake indirect lighting here, and it will try to bake the irradiance volume. So we've done the baking. As you can see, we have some glitches around this wall over here, but don't need to worry about that now. We're gonna fix that. And as you can see that the room is kind of dark now because the light is not able to hit the whole room. So yeah, but as you can see, if I increase the brightness now, to do so, I'm going to go inside of the color management, increase the exposure. You can see that the okay, let me reduce the reflection amount because it's a little bit too reflective. As you can see now, we have some less detail on this wall, and also need some of these probes on this wall as well. Actually, in the past, I just used to scale it out, something like this. And then I try to make the resolution go crazy high, something like this, as you can see. But doing so, you will increase your render baking time quite a lot, so don't do that. Now to add the lighting information on this wall, I'm not going to tweak this this irradiance volume, okay? I'm going to add another irradiance volume. I'm going to move it out. Move it up so that it's not clipping through anything. Let's get it out. Something like this. Something like this. I'm going to move it right about here. We want to scale it down just for having the wall. Okay, and then I'm going to change the resolution, and I'm going to change the resolution of the Y to be only 1, as you can see. But I think 4 on the X and Z is quite fine. And then I'm going to scale it towards the X axis. So something like this. And make sure that it's not clipping through anything. I think it's quite fine. So yeah, I'm going to move it to about there. Okay, so we've done that. So I'm going to scale it out a little bit more on the Y-axis. So as you can see, we have done for this wall, and I'm going to quickly bake the indirect lighting. And voila, we've done the baking for this wall. As you can see, it's looking pretty cool. Don't worry about this part because this is not going to be able to show in our render. We're just going to be able to see this one. So we've done this wall, but this floor is kind of bright compared to the cycles render. And also this wall needs some details. So I'm going to just select this one, and I'm going to duplicate this irradiance volume and move it to this wall over here. Just slightly. Okay. And also just make sure that nothing is clipping through something. So I'm going to quickly hit bake lighting again, and this time this one will be fixed. Also, one little thing that I forgot to do was just selecting the irradiance volume. Make sure you increase the blur size to something like 0.5-ish for these things, because I want it to blend properly, and I don't want these kind of glitches here. So doing that, you just quickly bake the indirect lighting. Now that it's done, you can see that we got some glitches here, as you can see. And that glitch is happening because this probe over here, and you can see this one is not occluded by any part, but this one over here is occluded by this TV, and this one is also occluded. So to fix that issue, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this TV into the non-static, and the box is also the box is already in the non-static, and I'm going to move some of these to the non-static. I'm going to see if these are quite fine. And then after doing so, I'm going to tell this irradiance volume to not calculate for these objects. To do so, I'm going to go over here, and in the visibility collection, I'm going to choose the collection, not the non-static one. And then if I try to bake the lighting again, also one simple little thing is, while you're baking the indirect lighting, you can go into the wireframe mode, and it will make your baking much faster. Okay, and voila, you can see we don't have any of the bugs now. It's properly lit up and everything is working quite fine. Don't worry about this side because we are not going to be able to see this side from the camera. But even if we, let's say we can't see this side from the camera, then you can add another irradiance volume there and you can do this stuff. Okay. So as you can see that this scene is looking quite fine, but there are some simple little things that we need to do. So the first thing that I'm going to do is you can see that the light is not reacting properly. Like you can see that this light are projecting here or not. Even if you increase the emission amount, you ain't going to be able to see the light properly, like falling onto the floor. So to fix that, what you can do is add a spotlight and move it in such a way that it might look so that it looks like it's coming from this one. So I'm going to move it right about there, just like this, and I'm going to duplicate that, move it, and now I'm going to select all of these lights and I'm going to move it to a new color and I'm going to call it as lights. Now I can just turn on or off the lights and you will see that we will have a difference, but currently the intensity of the light is quite low. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of these lights, go over to the light properties, increase the power to something like 20, and I'm going to do a right click and copy to select it. And as you can see that the light is now currently hitting the wall, the floor here, and also the radius is quite low for the light. So I'm going to increase this angle something like this, about 60, and also I'm going to do a right click and copy to select it. I'm going to select all of these. I'm going to do copy to select it, and now you can see that the light is working properly. So adding those lights. Now also I'm going to add another detail over here. As you can see that this part over here should be a little bit darker, but it's currently not. But I'm going to keep those things for the next video. So yeah, let me quickly give you a brief explanation of what I'm going to do in the next video. I'm going to fix the reflection under this sofa. Then I'm going to fix the reflection on top of the table, because you can see that there's no reflection of this plate and the book. So I'm going to fix that. And then I'm going to add the reflection on this window over here. You can see that there's no reflection. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do is I'm going to fix some lighting here because currently the light is not working properly. Also, I'm going to add some light details so that this scene will pop a little bit more. So yeah, also one single little thing is I've seen that 94% of my viewers are not subscribed to my channel. So if you like this kind of content and if you wanted to watch these kind of videos in future, then please hit the subscribe button and enable notification with the bell icon so you won't miss any of my future videos. Other than that, thanks for watching guys, and see you on the next one.